Most people are using ChatGPT like Google. They ask a question, they get an answer, forget about it. The reality is that these generative AI platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, they are supposed to build on previous context. And in order to extract the maximum value out of them, you need a system to keep that context, whether it's for personal use, for work, or for education. You can immediately use the tools available in those generative AI platforms in order to supercharge your interactions with them. In this video, I'm going to show you how I use these tools in the three main life domains they are useful for, which are for personal use, for education or learning, and for work or business context. First, I want to show you the education part. Not a long time ago, I took an IBM Generative AI engineering course in Coursera, and the certificate was like 6 months time to accomplish. And actually, this specialization has a lot to wait about key concepts in generative AI and the machine learning, the different frameworks, the libraries to use. There is also coding about Python and a lot of things. So I am not really a coder by background, but I have been a pre-sales in enterprise software. But learning these concepts was important for me to become an AI consultant. And the way I went through with that, I was stopping whenever I don't get a concept or I don't get something working. And I work together with LLMs, so with ChatGPT or Gemini, to be able to ensure that I am understanding concept. And how I did that, actually, I went to Gemini, and you see here, so to the left side, you will have the historical data of all your prompts that you have been talking through since you started interacting with Gemini. And all these prompts, you can actually click on them and pin them. And it's not just the prompt, so it's the whole conversation that is pinned, actually. So let's say in the chat here, you have a new conversation about specific topic with Gemini. You finish the conversation and you want to keep the context of that conversation. So you just have to pin it. Come here, click it, and pin it. And then it will appear in your pins as a safe thing because maybe you value that conversation. And this is what I do with educational content in general. When I'm studying something and there is new concepts I want to learn, I just pin it and come back to it and check the concepts if I missed something or forgot about something. And then I would also keep talking to Gemini in the context of that conversation, as it already knows that I am learning something there. And it will keep reusing the context we have been talking through all through our conversation. So you can see here, for example, what is probability threshold, which is something I found out about in machine learning. And here it's explaining it in details. And if I don't understand something, I ask it, please, I'm not a technical person, so explain the concept more simply for me. Those are tricks that you can use inside the conversation for you to get the most value out of it, because maybe you don't need to be so technical and to be able to develop these models yourself. You just want to understand how they work. And this is actually what I did. I didn't want to engineer a new model. I just wanted to understand the engineering concepts behind generative AI and how it works in order for me to be able to help my clients and explain to them when they ask the question about how these things work and how the result of the output we are getting. And actually, this is one of the ways, and this is actually very effective to come with your specific context and keep it there and keep discussing in that specific context. You don't need to each time start the chat from scratch, and you're not supposed actually to start the chat each time from scratch. Those models are built this way in order to enable us to use as much context as we can. And as they are evolving, this context window is becoming even bigger all the time. So as we have more advanced models, be sure that the context window will be larger, and it will be definitely able to manage your processes as they get more complex or more demanding in the future as well. So this is for education. Let's move to the second part, which is for personal use. Okay, so for personal use, actually, I use a lot of ChatGPT custom GPTs functionality. Custom GPTs, it's exactly like when Apple came with its App Store, where you can build actually specific apps, but it needed coders in order to be able to build those apps and bring them into the App Store. It's possible also through ChatGPT custom GPTs. People are building custom GPTs based on specific configuration to be able to do more specific things for them. For example, here I have built a nutritionist for health. This is my GPT. I selected it from these. So you come to these GPTs here, and you will be able to create your own GPT. So you need actually the paid version of ChatGPT to be able to do that. But yeah, this is how it works. And in Explore GPTs, you can also see GPTs of other people. Maybe you find something useful for you or some integrations to other apps. You will find something for writing, something for productivity, and there is a lot to it. So it's evolving. It's only evolving like the assets that we saw in App Store. It became really billions of apps. Same thing is happening with custom GPTs as well. So let's now go to my GPT that I built myself, which is here on Nutritionist GPT. If I enter here, I will go to Edit GPT just to show you exactly how I did the configuration of this one. So there is configure here. This is where I will tell it what you need to do. And I give it a name, I give it a description, and the instructions, I try to be as much detailed as possible. And specifically for me, because here I'm talking about someone who is thin and wants to gain weight through making sports and nutrition, where I wanted to give me tailored advice around the way I need to train, I need to get nutrition. And each time I can ask it questions, I give it this context window once, and I give it resources actually from YouTube experts, coaches in sport and nutrition, and all of these interviews, etc., that are transcripts mainly from YouTube videos. They would give it the knowledge it needs in order to answer the questions for which I need to answer. I don't need to go into many YouTube videos myself and check if this makes sense, if this doesn't make sense for me. It will consume me a lot of time, given the traditional way of searching in Google and going to YouTube or wherever to check if something fits to what I'm looking for. But here it's the different way. So this LLM has already, so ChatGPT has already a lot of data it has been trained on. It's just giving us the opportunity here to give it a specific context for our specific use case. And it will then use it for all our future conversation when I am using this custom GPT. That's the goal of it. So I made this one. I made also another one, which is also very useful based on Warren Buffett. And actually, it's funny because first I was using this as something where I kept the stock prices updated from an integration between ChatGPT, so this custom GPT, and a platform that is giving real-time stock prices. But we don't need to do that anymore. When I did it, actually, it hadn't access to internet search tool, right? Now it can just search the internet and give you a response. But back then it didn't. So I will just go to the configuration here just to show you the instructions. Again, I'm giving it a role, the context, tasks, and examples, the guardrails, and I'm giving it a conversation starter. It was, as I said, the conversation starters. For example, here is the Apple stock, Microsoft stock, NVIDIA. And yeah, when I put one of them, it will just search through a tool and give me back the stock price. And in actions here, this is what I used, or it was used in order to communicate with external application. It's like an API key authentication to the application I'm using to communicate with the application I needed to communicate with, and it just executes a specific function actually to get me the stock price. That's what it does. And it was the old way. I think now with MCP and with all the tools available with N8N platform, these kind of automations are easier. But I still can talk here because it also has been trained on Warren Buffett specific advice about investing. This is 3.5 hours transcript of video that I just downloaded it as a doc and put it here. Another interview, really useful interviews from Warren Buffett that I put here as a context so it can advise me in my future investments. This was the custom GPT and the personal part. Let's move on now to the work part. So, for example, in Gemini, I can come here and go to the settings, go to the instructions for Gemini, and just give it something it needs to remember, or general instruction that it needs to have. So I came here, and actually I gave it the instructions that, because actually I'm using Gemini mainly for generating videos and images for my thumbnails, for my content I create, or LinkedIn post image, etc. And I want a consistent branding. So here I'm saying, for example, my branding and my preferred colors to use when I want to generate a thumbnail with Nano Banana, which is the model for image generation in Gemini. it will consistently use this branding. So I don't need to type it each time I come back to say, please generate in this context, generate in this context. But you see how much you can add. Actually, you can add as much as you want. So each small thing for which you have a context, from where you have a preference, where you have anything, you can just fine tune models here directly through this chat window. This is very powerful, honestly. So what else can we do? You can also use the gems, which are the custom GPTs of Gemini as well, to come with your custom thing. So it will do exactly the same thing. It has a context window, it has instructions, you can come with a knowledge base, etc. Another great thing I was able to come with based on a digital marketing course that I took a year ago. And with time, I was able to build a library for myself, for my business, in order to come with prompts for different things. I have specific prompts saved here for landing pages where I have specific spaces where to enter one thing or the other. I have it for other things like 5-day follow-up email sequence. There is some variations where I can add or take out something, problem solution prompt, feature and benefit prompt. There is so many different variations you can use in order to play with the words for your specific business or specific product or whatever you are using. And that's the goal of it, to have all these never-ending templates with educational prompt, nostalgic prompt, lifestyle prompt, all of this about marketing, right? So how to write an ad that is successful, how to write a copy, how to generate an image, and how the prompt should be. So I'm not an expert in videography or image design, etc. So that's why this is very useful for me. I took a course, of course, to know how to prompt AI, but I do have this library, which is saving me tremendous amount of time to not having to go each time to Google or wherever, look for some specifics about how I should prompt AI in order to get an image or in order to get a good content created. And this definitely helped me a lot. So it's coming from a training that I took for my business to come with a marketing strategy with professional prompts that the professional marketer actually will use in order to get the full power of AI. This has been very successful for me. So I'm coming with things that really feel authentic also for me, because I'm also bringing in my own things. I'm not just using that randomly. It's too generic if you keep it like that. I'm using my specific products, my specific ICP, specific AI services, where I'm bringing things where I have some add value, and I use the professional marketing part in order to convey that value efficiently to my target customers. This was it for today's video. For the Notion template, where you saw all my marketing prompts that I took from a very expensive course, by the way, they are available for you in my free community. Click the link below to grab them. If this video added some value to you, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. This will help me a lot. And please leave some comments and let me know how you are using these LLM platforms today, like ChatGPT, if you are prompting them, if you are using them like Google, if you are already having your prompt library, and how you are planning to do that in the future. It would be great to know. Thank you so much, and see you next time.